Twitter investors are bracing for a wild ride this Wednesday as debate heats up over the future of the trend-setting service. Twitter shares are off their lows in pre-market trade, but they are still set to fall more than 11% when the opening bell sounds less than a half hour from now. Twitter reported higher than expected profits in the second quarter. Revenues soared more than 60%. That said, the company is still having big trouble getting people to use the service. The number of core users was virtually unchanged from the quarter before, and Twitter executives say making Twitter easier to navigate remains job number one. Interim CEO Jack Dorsey calls the user numbers, quote, unacceptable. As Twitter struggles to find its footing, archenemy Facebook appears to be firing on all cylinders. Facebook shares are up over 20% so far this year, and it is making big strides in turning the site into a go-to place for getting news. Facebook reports its results after the closing bell today, and it is expected to show new strength in mobile ad growth. That will be key for Facebook's profits going forward. Here with more on Twitter and Facebook, I'm joined by Chris Dessi. He's a social media expert and CEO of Silverback Social. He has been bullish in the past on both companies. Chris, great to see you. So tell me how you're feeling about Twitter this morning. We had a lot of initial enthusiasm when the headline crossed, and then listening to the executives who sounded so downbeat, investors seem to change their mind. How are you feeling?
I'm still feeling bullish on the platform, and the reason is at Silverback, as an agency, we're platform agnostic, right? So we're only going to use the tools at our disposal that work the best for our clients. And today, Twitter and Facebook are still part of the holy trinity, right? You have Facebook, you have Instagram, and you have Twitter, and I still think Twitter works. The growth is disappointing, yes. However, there is still no global, real-time news feed like Twitter can be. There's nothing that's nipping at its heels, competing with the power that Twitter has. So from a marketer perspective and an advertiser perspective, it still works, and I do believe that they'll find success at the corner of Periscope and Vine. If they can leverage those two tools on behalf of what they're doing right now, it could be hugely compelling for marketers.
And wouldn't we have seen that show up or not yet? What makes you think those two services within Twitter are going to bear fruit?
Well, I'll start off with an example, right? When Saturday Night Live has an exhibition right now, and when Saturday Night Live can live stream a walkthrough of a live exhibition like that by leveraging Periscope and or Meerkat, when they're live streaming, individuals that are following that company on Twitter can parachute in, experience the actual exhibition, and then say, I was on the fence whether I was going to go or not. Oh man, I didn't realize that it was this fully immersive experience. That idea to be able to live stream content like that, whether you're a retailer, whether you're an events company, whether you're doing anything that would have a live rub to it, is so hugely compelling from a marketing and advertising perspective. It's just about how are they going to monetize it. And it's still new. They just acquired it. They're just figuring out how to use it. Marketers are just figuring out what the most compelling way to leverage that platform is. And I'll tell you right now, when we growth hack using social media influencers, meaning we'll engage an influencer to talk about a certain business, those influencers largely have the biggest ecosystem on Vine. Vine has a very finite, definitive, very valuable demographic that marketers are really interested in. And because Twitter has both of those things, I don't see the user growth right now being a long-term detriment to Twitter. I think everything that Twitter is doing right now is right on point.
That's really interesting. Because they're looking for a CEO. What type of person do you think would be a right fit there? And are they worried about, are they making too much of the overall user number, and should they just figure out how to make those active users more happy?
I can tell you this, I think making too much of the user number is absolutely correct. It's like comparing my two daughters. One's 7, one's 4.5. They look completely different. It's not an apples to apples comparison. You don't look at the major user growth because it's not going to be a mass market play like Facebook. I would say if they're looking for a new CEO, it shouldn't be Jack Dorsey. It's not somebody, they need to have somebody that's charismatic, somebody that can work with the media, somebody that can work with Wall Street and be a little bit more pandering toward Wall Street a touch, and be able to have those important conversations about what the future of Twitter is. He's the founder of Twitter, and that's fantastic. He's a bit too cerebral for my taste. He's highly intelligent, but we need a little more charisma. We need somebody to talk about things that we just discussed, Periscope and Vine, and how we're going to leverage those technologies and potentially monetize those technologies.
Did you know we blink 66